let's get started with intros, and I'm sure some more folks will be filing in, but I would love to first welcome Claire Londre from BuiltRight Digital. She's a digital marketing expert and is going to walk us through all of the ins and outs of Google Local Services ads today. So thank you for being here, Claire. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Great. So we'll get into a little bit about what our companies do in a minute, but I thought it might be good just to share some housekeeping items with everyone, namely that we are recording this session and everyone's going to receive a copy of that recording. We'll upload it to our YouTube channel. And also we're going to provide our contact info at the end too. So stick around for that. If you want to get in touch with either Claire or I or our respective companies, you will have the chance to do that. So with that in mind, here's what we're going to talk about today. First, as I mentioned, we're going to give you a brief overview of what each of our companies does, so you have some context as to why we are talking about Google Local Services ads and how you and your company can benefit. Then we're going to dive into the meat of the conversation, right? The Q&A about Google Local Service ads, and we're going to give you an opportunity to interact too. So as I mentioned, feel free to use that chat tool throughout this conversation. We want this to be interactive. We want this to benefit you guys. And of course, next step, we'll continue the Q&A and also just provide our contact info so that if you have further questions about our companies or the things that we talked about today, you'll have a way to reach us both. Sound good? So first, we'll give a brief overview of Signpost and BuiltRight Digital, and of course, how our companies work together. Starting with Signpost. So a lot of you guys might know our history as a reputation management company, and we still do that today. However, our offerings have really evolved into communications. So in addition to helping businesses like yours generate great feedback, great 5-star reviews on platforms like Google, we also help companies manage and respond to their leads, whether they're coming from Google, Facebook, other channels like text, even missed phone calls. In addition, we have a service that helps you gain live receptionist coverage 24/7. So if you're unable to answer the phone, nights, weekends, you want that extra backstop for coverage, that is something our company can provide. So that's just a little bit about Signpost. I'll turn it over to Claire to talk a little bit about what BuiltRight does.
Thanks, Laura. So BuiltRight Digital is, as you can see there, the home improvement industry's digital partner. So we service the home improvement industry and the home inspection industry, and we help you really with everything under the umbrella of your digital footprint. We help you build your website, launch your local brand, and really help you maintain your reputation and your branding in your local community so that you can provide your services, your 5-star wonderful services to all the folks that are looking for it.
Awesome. So as you can understand, these companies work hand in hand. We are software and service. Claire's company helps with the ad campaigns, managing your spend, making sure that you're optimized. And today we're really going to focus on Google Local Services ads, which if you are a service business, you probably understand can be pretty valuable to your business. So I'm going to facilitate this conversation of Q&A. And again, please feel free to use the chat because, we know you have some burning questions and we want to be resources for you guys in answering them. So let's start out really with the basics, right? Claire, could you give us an overview of what Google Local Services Ads program is for those who are less familiar with it?
Yes, absolutely. So Google Local Ads, or, you might hear me refer to it interchangeably as Google Guarantee as well, because that's kind of what we call it at BuiltRight, just because it's really easy to say Google Guarantee. Google Local Services Ads is a mouthful, but it is a really relatively new advertising software through Google that allows local services, just as it sounds, businesses to sell their services. So you sign up through Google Guarantee and you get that Google Guarantee badge. Or there's the other side to it, which is the Google Screen Provider. And we'll talk, I'm sure, a little bit more later about the differences between those two and the types of businesses that can take advantage of these ads. But really, the main benefit is that you pay per lead. So if you're a business that's looking for new contacts or looking for leads, Google Guarantee is an excellent way for you to find them and only pay for that lead. So it's really low risk, high reward there. And especially if you're starting off with a smaller advertising budget or you've never advertised before with Google, it really can help you kind of dip your toes in and get started with building your digital footprint on the paid side of things, as opposed to the organic side.
Great. And, could you provide an overview too of what type of businesses the program is good for and who shouldn't try it?
Yes, definitely. So mostly, just as it sounds, service businesses. That goes anywhere from pretty much everything under the home improvement umbrella. All those industry verticals we've seen, home inspectors, but also like, and there's a full comprehensive list on support.google.com, which we can share with you guys. Or when you're first signing up, if you're interested in Google Guarantee, actually, you can let them know your industry and it will tell you, the system will tell you if you're eligible for them. But it can range all the way from like an acupuncturist to an esthetician to a dentist's office. Really, if you provide a local service, you can get started on there. And then I guess ones that wouldn't be good for that would be like if you sell a good, like a bakery or a shoe store, you wouldn't need that type of traffic from Google Guarantee.
Got it. So that's helpful. You mentioned earlier that this is a pay per lead program, and it's a little different than some of the other pay per lead programs. So I'd love if you could expand on, what are the advantages over other programs that are out there in the marketplace, maybe Angie or Thumbtack, for example, and then reflect on what the disadvantages of Google local service ads might be.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a lead generation platform, and I'm glad you brought up Angie and Yelp Home Advisor, which I think is the same as Angie now. They're meshing together. And then also you've got the other side of things, which is like Google ads or pay-per-click advertising. So I would say the number one benefit to Google Guarantee or the Google local services is the barrier to entry is low because it's easy to use. So I've seen business owners take it all the way by themselves to get it started, all the way through being completely successful with the platform without our intervention, if that's what they want. So I think that's the number one selling point. You really do have the autonomy to run your ads the way you want to run them. Whereas I'm familiar with the other lead generation platforms, and I think there's just a couple, I would say, like training wheels kind of settings that you can't change when you're in there. So I like Google Guarantee because you have more opportunity to really customize your ads on the platform as far as you can with that, and really customize where you're showing your ads and to who and your budget. So I like that. You can control it at any time. And then aside from that, you did hit the nail on the head. It is a pay per lead platform. So I really like that as opposed to Google Ads, which is a very robust and very efficient platform. But that one is going to be you paying for clicks to your website and for traffic that you're hoping, if you're showing it to the right folks, will convert. With Google Guarantee, those folks are a little bit further down the sales funnel. And so they're already searching for the products and services you provide. They've decided, I want my bathroom remodeled, and they're searching for bathroom remodelers in the area. Google Guarantee is going to pop up at the top. It actually pops up before Google Ads. So if you can visualize the search engine results pages, you've got Google Guarantee, Google Ads, and then you've got your organic results. So it's kind of nice that it shows up there. And in that sense, it would show up even higher than an Angie or a Yelp type of lead generation campaign. So that's kind of nice too, getting right in front. Those are a lot of advantages. But then I guess we'll cover the disadvantages of the platform as well, which is it's not 100% perfect. So there is going to be the time when you'll have to go in and dispute leads because they aren't necessarily true leads for your business. I've seen it happen where folks who just want to do bathroom remodeling services sign up under the general contractor umbrella. And then, of course, folks in the area searching for a general contractor might find that client's ads and click on it for something under the general contractor umbrella, but not related to bathroom remodeling. So there's that disadvantage there where it doesn't have 100% success rate because the specificity just isn't there yet. But I'm sure as Google continues to evolve the platform, it will open up more very specific industry verticals to allow you to run those ads to more specific audiences.
I think you hit on some really great points here and why I really love the program. First, that real estate, top of the Google search results, that cannot be beat. So if you are a business that is looking to improve your real estate online and get noticed, like you can't do better than the top of the Google search results. And this is the only product, the only program that gets you there. And of course, you have to do the work of, being available 24/7 sometimes and having a great reputation online. And of course, my company can help with that. And Claire's company can help you actually launch these ads. But that, that top of Google placement can't be beat. I like the comparison you made to other programs too, like Angie and Thumbtack, where they have seemingly similar business models, but what's different about Google local service ads is that, the consumer is choosing your business specifically, right? This is not a lead that goes to 5 of your competitors at the same time. And while you do have to take time to, dispute a lead that, might not be in, your menu of services, like the bathroom remodel that you talked about, they, that consumer has a high level of familiarity with your business because they specifically chose you from that list. So lots of pluses here.
Definitely. And I think it's nice to I think that's where you give the power back to the business owner, or I guess the business in general, whoever's running the ads for the business, because you can dispute the leads and you can say to Google very honestly, hey, this is a platform that's supposed to service and provide return on investment for my business, but I'm not seeing that because I have a lead here that isn't really a true lead, and Google will be fair in that. So I like how the whole program of Google Guarantee is that Google's putting their good name behind your business because they've run you through their checks, and they're saying to the customer or whoever's choosing your ad or your business for that service, hey, if this didn't go well, we'll reimburse you because we're Google and we can do that. And we've put our good name behind this business. So it protects the consumer, but it also protects the business owner by allowing you to customize and really control a little bit better your lead generation.
That's great. Getting started. So we know these campaigns generally can't be turned on in a single day. So if your business starting out with Google Guaranteed or local service ads, what do you need to do to get approved for the program?
Yeah, so while they won't go live in a day, you can totally set them up in a day. They're very easy. They're not like Google Ads, for example, where there's a lot of research and time put behind it. This really kind of takes that side of it out, and it's just about getting your documents in order and getting your profile set up. So you're just going to go to Google local, you can just Google local ads and go to their website and get started by just filling out your profile information. And then it's going to run you through a series of checks, which you can complete in a day. The processing of those checks is why it probably won't go live that same day, but you'll want to submit your certificate of insurance proving you have liability insurance for your business. You as the business owner or whoever's running the ads for you really could run the background check. And then you're going to want to put in your billing information, your budget. It's going to try to connect to your Google My Business profile so that it can pull reviews as that like social proof, because that shows up as part of your ads. And it will also give you a unique link that you can use to get verified reviews. So that can kind of speed up the process. And I think that's just about it. Oh, the one thing I missed was your business license. So whatever service that you promised to provide or are running the ads for, you'll need a business license to prove that you are in fact certified to provide that service.
Yeah, a lot of documentation, but hopefully businesses have that on hand so they can get these stood up as quickly as possible. And we did get a question from an attendee, and I think this is a really good one, going back to, we talked about that real estate being the best you can get on Google. However, this is not true for everyone. right? This person says it doesn't seem to be a way to get to the top at all. With 50 plus competitors in some fields, there's no true way to guarantee the top. So why do you think it is that some companies with lower ratings, fewer years of service, and slower response times are sometimes ranked higher than other businesses in Google guaranteed? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. That is an excellent question. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think one of the things it all ties together, right? Like organic results, paid results, Google guarantee, like it all follows the same general guidelines of why you are in the top 3. With Google guarantee, it's a little bit different. So you are in that kind of position 0 in the search engine results pages, which is great real estate on those pages. But if you're not in the top 3, it can be kind of hard to be successful, because we all know how easy it is. Well, those 3 must be the best, so I've got to choose from the top 3 that Google's giving me. But you can click through and see the rest of them. So even if you do have 50 plus competitors in the area, there's no guarantee that they're all going to be on Google guarantee. And even if they are, you can optimize the profile in different ways. So I've seen it, I have a couple clients that are like, oh, all we have are 5-star reviews, and we're still falling from the top 3. And everybody ahead of us does not have that perfect 5-star rating. Well, when we're looking at just reviews, for example, if we're isolating that part of this experiment, then you have to look at how many reviews those other businesses have. So I say, yes, you might have 25-star reviews, which is phenomenal and great that you have those glowing reviews. It's great social proof for your business. But if ABC remodeling at the top and DEF remodeling and so on have like 500 reviews, and maybe they've got some 1-star ones in there, but they're all kind of above a 4.5-star rating, they're going to pop up first because Google will favor the volume of reviews over the overall score. So getting more reviews is my advice to that person. The other thing that really affects how your Google guarantee ads show up in relation to your competitors is where your clients or potential clients are searching from. So they do use very specific service areas that you can set up. And if you are including service areas from where they're searching, then you'll pop up in that list. You can also exclude service areas. So say they don't live in Clearwater, Florida, but they're searching from Clearwater, Florida, but you're excluding that, and you're only including Tampa. But maybe they live in Tampa and you want to show up, but they're at a restaurant in Clearwater, and then that's when they're searching. So there's a lot of things that go into why you might not show up, but we'll probably get into some more questions about optimizing your profile later on, and we can discuss a little bit more of the specifics of what you can do to make sure that you almost like 95% of the time show up in those top 3. That other 5% is just Google doing whatever Google wants to do.
Yeah, I think those are great points. And it also, of course, depends on what market you're serving, in addition to like who's searching for you and where, and whether that's relevant to your listing. It's also like, if you're in a hyper competitive market, yes, you're going to have more challenges coming out on top each and every search. Whereas, if you have fewer competitors and you're using Google guarantee to get to the top, like, clearly you have an advantage there. So I know there's a lot of nuance here, but hopefully some of the tips that you all get today help you to at least optimize your profile if those are some of the challenges that you're facing. I want to switch gears a little bit. Well, kind of similar on to or along the lines of getting set up on Google Guaranteed is next setting parameters for spend and talking about how businesses should think about this. Of course, there are variations across markets, but Claire, when you set companies up, what are the considerations you take when forming a budget?
That's a great question. And honestly, Google Guarantee has taken all of the guesswork out of that. So they now have a really helpful tool, which I can show you guys here. I'll share my screen. It's going to help us decide what kind of a budget we want to put around our Google Guarantee ads. So can everyone see my screen for Google Local Services? Awesome. All right, so let's say we are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I'm located. That's our zip code, and I want 20 new leads per month, and I'm a countertop pro. Google Guarantee is going to give me my estimated monthly budget. This isn't something that you have to necessarily stick to. And I have noticed that Google Guarantee tends to not spend your full budget every month. But if you do have a massive budget, Google Guarantee, you'll notice more success with it. And I'll get into what I mean by that in a second. But this tool is really excellent because it does allow you to take the guesswork out of it. So if you're like, you know what, I can't really afford $600 to $900 a month, what can I pay for maybe 10 leads? That's what I want to get out of it. And then you're looking still at a cost per lead of around $30 to $45, which is still pretty good. So it depends really on your zip code, how many new leads you want per month, and your industry vertical or your service that you provide. And then you can also take a look, your ads are going to be in one dashboard, and you're going to have one budget for all of them. If we were serving Milwaukee and Madison and some other big cities like across Wisconsin, then there are going to be some variations there in, obviously I could choose several different zip codes from many of those different areas because they're bigger cities in Wisconsin, and get probably varying budgets here. So I think as long as you use this tool just as a general guideline, it can help. And then back to what I was saying before about your budget with Google Guarantee. So I think it's important to know that there's a difference here with Google Guarantee versus Google Ads. If you say to Google Ads, I have a budget of $500 a month, Google Ads is going to work, depending on how you've set it up, really hard to spend that $500 a month. And it probably will. If you tell Google Guarantee, hey, I've got a budget of $500 a month, Google Guarantee may not spend $500 a month every single month, which I totally get is hard for budgeting and keeping costs consistent across advertising platforms. But that's kind of the difference here, right? Like with Google Ads, you're going to go in and you're going to be getting that traffic no matter what. And you're going to be hoping for conversions based on how you set that targeting up to get those folks to your website. With Google Guarantee, it's really a lot about consumer demand in your area. So if you notice that around the holidays, consumer demand is low and it's not spending your full budget, that's okay, because that means there were no leads to pay for. So there's kind of that give and take with Google Guarantee. I wouldn't expect it to spend consistently. Even if, I have some clients that have no intention of spending. I don't even know what the maximum cap is anymore. The last time we checked, I think it was like $25,000 a month. They have no intention of spending that budget, but we have it set up that way so that there's no opportunity for their ads to not show up, because they always have budget to spend should the demand be there in the areas that they are serving the ads for. And then just for a fun fact, that account has probably never spent over $1,000 a month, and we have it set up to spend at a maximum 25 grand. So it's a little bit stranger with how you budget, but there is a tool to help you decide. And then it's really about just trial and error and figuring out what works for you. So if you feel like you're running out of budget every month and you are spending the full, like for our example, the full $450 a month for your countertop pro services, then that means the demand is there and you could probably add more to your ads because they're probably maxing out, and maybe by like the third week of the month, there's no more budget, so they're not serving for that last week. So trial and error, very customized to your specific situation. So that's why being involved with these ads is very important, paying attention to them and making those tweaks where you see fit.
That's awesome. Couple great questions came in on budgeting. The first one is, if you set the budget very high and they start to get too high, can you stop it? So it sounds like you may have addressed that, but talk about the mechanics of that.
Totally, you can. So you do set the budget at the beginning, but that's just to give Google Guarantee an idea of, how many leads you can expect. But in your profile and budget section of that dashboard, you can change it at any time. So if you do set it up for $25,000 a month and it starts spending a lot and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that, which I wouldn't recommend from the beginning. I'd recommend starting small and then getting to that point. But if you're seeing that it is starting to spend more than you anticipated, then you can totally knock that back a bit into a more manageable range.
Got it. So that's really helpful. too. Another question that kind of goes back to this example, you had shown countertops in, say, Milwaukee, but you also mentioned Madison as an example. If someone wanted to set up different campaigns for different cities separately, what does that look like? Or does it have to be the same campaign, deployed across these metro areas?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are a couple different ways to do that. I have a client, for example, who's in like one area of the United States, and then they just opened up another business in another area, and they are running two totally different Google Guarantee campaigns because one's in one state, one's in the other state, and they want to appear local, which is important in optimizing these campaigns. You want to be local because it's Google local services. As far as running two different campaigns in Wisconsin, you're going to set up two different profiles. You can name one like ABC Countertops Milwaukee and ABC Countertops Madison. Hopefully you have a Google My Business profile for both locations. That way Google Guarantee can see the legitimacy behind the campaigns and can really connect those reviews for you. Just because, like we talked about before, local really plays a huge role in this. So if you don't have a Google My Business profile to connect, it's not the end of the world, but that social proof is a little bit harder to collect. And also just the locality of it. So you can set up two separate profiles in your Ads Manager dashboard. As far as what I would recommend, it's really about what you want for your business. If you're very conscious about how you spend your budget and you see that you can spend less in Madison and you have to spend a little bit more in Milwaukee, and you want to set up two separate profiles just to be a little bit more consistent with your budgeting, you totally can do that. I have several clients that they service different metropolitan areas of the same state, and they keep it all in one profile. So it's really about how you want to manage. If you do have two separate states, I would totally recommend two separate profiles, but you can manage it all in one place, which is nice.
Well, that is convenient. And on the topic of like profiles and specificity, I think categories are really important here. One of the questions that came in is there an option to exclude do-it-yourself customers? Maybe they're purchasing their own products for the company to install, or vice versa, right? This company prefers getting customers that allow them to provide the material and service. So can you speak to like how to filter those out more effectively?
Yes. So I'll just use an example of Google Ads first. So that's going to be more of like an interest group or like a psychographic type of targeting that you can do in Google Ads. They don't have that specific of a drill down in Google Guarantee. However, if you start to get leads like that, you can always dispute them in the platform, which is a very easy process, and Google usually grants it. One tip I will share, and we can always write this down for you guys, but one tip I always share with my clients when running these and getting started, you have to answer the phone a lot. Because when these come through, if you don't answer the phone, then Google is going to take a look at your profile and say, well, they never answer the phone. We're done giving them leads, even if you have a $25,000 budget. So answering the phone is important, but then when you do answer the phone and you realize it's a DIY customer, you can just say, we don't provide that service and we don't refer anyone who does, and then keep that call under 50 seconds. Those are the two pieces of advice I have, following that script and keeping the call under 50 seconds. And when you do that, Google's bots are listening to these calls because they all get recorded. And if it hears those things, it might automatically just not charge you for it because you kept the call short. And then you also hit some of those buzzwords that Google's bots are looking for, that AI is looking for in determining if they should charge you or not. Furthermore, if Google does charge you and that's the recording that you have, your dispute process is going to be much smoother and easier and probably faster.
Okay, that's a really important piece of information. Keep that call under 50 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Always answer your phone. So make sure somebody at your business is charged with responding to these leads, or point your calls to a service like ours, especially if you want 24/7 availability through your Google local services ads. And I think this leads well. You mentioned, dashboard upkeep, because I know proactive in, management of your dashboard and these calls is really important. We got a question about this specifically. this person wants to know, at what point in the process after getting a call do you mark the lead as booked? So for example, in real estate, is the lead booked after the call is completed or after you've talked to a potential or customer, or when? What would you recommend?
Yes, so actually that's exactly how they put it in the platform, booked, completed, or not, and then you would obviously dispute it. So I always recommend to people, if you have the capacity and resources, you should be going in and managing your dashboard on a daily basis, especially if you're getting a lot of calls from Google Guarantee. You can scale that back to a week if you don't have the capacity and resources, or if you have like a smaller budget, like 10 leads a month. And so you're not getting that volume of calls where you need to be managing that. And then to answer your question more specifically, when you go in and you're booking the leads as completed or booked, I typically tell my clients to not mark it as booked unless they actually booked an appointment. So maybe they were interested in services that you provide, but they didn't exactly book an appointment. So I would wait in the system, because sometimes you have those people who are just price shopping. You know, I don't have concrete evidence around this, but my theories for, disputing with those leads from price shoppers, it's kind of up in the air. It's like 70-30 being on the favoring side of successfully disputing it. But sometimes Google will say, no, sorry, we did send a real lead your way and we are going to charge you for that. So I would say don't mark it as booked unless you actually booked an appointment with them and that was what you would consider a real lead, because it's your budget. You have to protect that as well.
Got it. Couple more questions from the audience here. While we're on the topic of calls, do businesses, or can they use their own phone number with your campaigns, or with the Google Local Services ads campaigns?
Yes, absolutely. You can use your own phone number. I have clients that use tracked lines as well, and both work. It just depends on how you want that set up and for your own tracking purposes.
Awesome. We had another question going back to the categories and keywords, just to, facilitate that filtering. This person asked, what are the keywords to use if you don't do the service? Is there a list that they can choose from to ensure that the business is represented properly in the profile and in the ad?
Yes, that's an excellent question, because I have a few thoughts on that. So, and probably things we haven't gone over yet. So if you are like a home remodeler in your area, or a general contractor, you can select general contractor, and then there are going to be specific services under that umbrella that you can toggle on or off. I really like that, because then if leads come in, even under the general contractor umbrella, but the service is turned off, you can dispute that. And that's a really fast process, because Google will be like, yep, my bad, you had that turned off. I shouldn't have sent that lead your way. But then you can also, there's, I think, a specific category for, well, there is for Countertop Pro. So maybe you consider yourself a general contractor, but then you also are specialized in countertops and providing those cuts, and then also installing them. And you can turn on the specific services that you do under that. So they do allow you within your industry or your service that you provide to get very specific about the services you provide. If you're an electrician and you do everything but install fans, then you can keep that toggled off, and then you can keep everything else toggled on, and you should be able to, get that specificity that you're looking for.
Got it. That's awesome. For those starting out, back to the budget, and I know we're skipping around a lot, but I want to make sure that this, incorporates some of the basics, but also incorporates the questions that the audience is asking. I would love a little overview on what success looks like. And of course, there's going to be variations across the market, but is there a target cost per lead that you are guiding clients toward, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. With more of our clients participating in it, I do now have more data on that. And we typically see a cost per lead of between $50 and $75 per lead. And those are on the high end. I have clients that get $18 cost per leads through Google Guarantee. So because it's not like with Google Ads, for example, we have those industry averages that we can kind of come back to and like find comfort in, like, okay, this is what my industry is getting, so this must be a good cost per lead for me. It's going to be very specific for Google Guarantee, just like with the budgeting tool, to your industry or your service, to how many leads you're getting, and to your zip code. So I say $50 to $75 per lead as a loose number because I've never seen anything really go over that. But I have seen way less than that as well. So I think success just looks like, as long as you're getting new leads a month, because there is that demand there, because you're booking appointments. So if you're not booking any appointments at all or hearing from anyone, and you're also not getting any leads through Google Guarantee, maybe the demand isn't there at this time or in that area. And that's okay. But if you're getting leads from other areas of your business and you're not getting any in Google Guarantee, it's time to make some optimizations, because that's an unsuccessful profile. So as long as you're getting leads and spending some of your budget, if not all of your budget every month, that's what success looks like to me. And then keeping your cost per lead low, just because this is such a specific lead generation focused advertising platform.
Yeah, and I guess also it would depend too on how large the jobs are, because to some small service and repair companies, 50 to 75 might be a lot, right? That might be a large portion of, say, like a cleaning job that's fairly routine. However, for a large roofing install, that might be very palatable, right? That seems like low for some of the larger jobs or appliances, et cetera.
Right. And that's just what I see in my industry. In our industry, we range from having some more of those like ancillary services like cleaning, all the way to like metal roofing, which they have a way totally different profit margins there. So a different cost per lead and a range there among all of our clients that's a pretty healthy range. But even for like most of our home inspectors, I'm seeing a cost per lead of less than $20 a month, or $20 a lead. So I think it really depends on those like three factors: your leads, your service, and where you're located.
Got it. That's helpful. On the reporting side, we talked about, budgeting and what that CPL to aim for looks like. Is a report on, and how often should businesses receive that or check for bad leads on that report? Can you talk about, what that looks like, how easy it is to interpret and understand, and how often a business should take stock in how well the program is going?
Yeah, I think that there's a big benefit to having very clear communication from who's managing the profile to who's getting the leads. And then of course the business owner should be seeing that as well. We report on it on a monthly basis, but then we also, like I said before, encourage our clients to go in there daily or weekly, depending on their volume, and manage those leads and make sure that they're disputing them. Because if you dispute a lead 1 month later, Google's going to be like, wait a second, something's going on here. I don't know if that's actually, either you're not managing this or that's not a true dispute. So there's going to be some benefit to managing that regularly. But then if you're not the person who's receiving the leads, but you are the person managing the profile, maybe you're the marketing manager, you need to be meeting with the sales manager and the business owner to understand if your cost per lead that you're getting from this platform is within range for what you're looking for, and compared to your other marketing avenues that you've got running for you. And then you also need to be talking to your sales manager, because he or she is going to be able to provide you with just more clarity behind what the sales reps are seeing and if these leads are actually of quality. Because you can send several leads that book appointments someone's way, but if they're not quality and they're not converting to actual sales, then you've got a problem there, and you want to kind of look into that and figure out what's happening.
Absolutely. So it sounds like even that, that cross-functional collaboration is huge internally, and, the more on top of it, the more often, the better outcome you might have, which kind of leads me into optimization, right? So we have a number of people on this webinar who have done these campaigns before, and they're asking, about multiple locations, different types of budgets, et cetera. So I want to get into, what that looks like specifically, if they've been running this program, how they should think about optimizing their budget. Maybe they've gotten to a certain lead flow and they either want to take, up their investment to get to another level, or, what are the dials that you recommend that people turn to get more out of the program?
Yeah, the beauty in this is that the platform is so simple that it's not intimidating when you look at what you have to do to optimize it. And it's kind of, some of these things can kind of be a set it and forget it type of thing, which I know a lot of our business owners really enjoy because it's a very turnkey solution for them. So I'll just compare it to, like with any optimization you do in the digital marketing world, Google is king here. So you want to play with all the tools Google gives you. You want to be running your ads through Google Ads. You want to have a Google My Business profile, and you want to be using Google's tools to measure the health of your website. So just like with anything for optimizing it, you want to be playing with all the tools Google gives you. So when Google Guarantee says, hey, you can start getting messaging leads now, you turn that on. When Google says, hey, you can add photos to your ads now, you add photos to your ads. So when you go to that profile and budget section of your dashboard, that's really where you're going to be able to do the most optimization. So make sure your business name is accurate. Make sure your phone number is working and is accurate. Make sure your website is accurate. Sometimes folks change their domain names and they need to change their address, their web address. It doesn't matter if you have a redirect on there. Make sure that's your true domain name. Make sure that you fill out that business bio section and check what the highlights of your business are. If you're a woman-owned business, make sure you sing that proudly, because maybe there are folks looking for that and using those filters to only support women-owned businesses, for example, or maybe only support businesses that are still following COVID-19 procedures, because there are filters for that. So fill out that business bio profile section, and then also make sure that you have, like I said before, the messaging leads turned on. That's a relatively new part of the process, but if you are willing to receive messaging leads, that's going to be in the form of an email. So you're going to get a call typically from Google Guarantee, but now you'll get emails with the messages. You go in the app on your browser and you can answer them from there. Make sure you're getting verified reviews. So if folks do book your services through the platform, you should be reaching out to them for verified reviews, because those are going to show up a little bit higher in your profile. Well, they will show up higher in your profile. And you want that. You want people singing your praises from people who found you from the same place that your potential customers might be finding you from. Add photos of real jobs you've completed, and don't put stock photos in there, because people can differentiate that, and so can Google. Now there's a new optimization that you can add. Not everyone can take advantage of it, unfortunately, because it's the scheduling feature and it only partners with certain scheduling software. For example, one of them is like House Call Pro. So if you use House Call Pro to book some of your appointments, then you can use Google Guarantee to actually connect that to your account. And people can book straight from your Google Guarantee. So that's another way of optimizing it. So long-winded explanation, but the short answer to that is just be playing with the tools Google gives you. And there's not a whole lot, because it's a very simple platform. So be doing everything you possibly can, give it as much information as you can, and you will be successful.
Those are great tips. And, I want to emphasize the scheduling. That's so important, especially for people like me. I don't like to call anyone. So if I have an easier route, I will schedule online. And there's lots of people like me. So if you're using one of those scheduling softwares that Google partners with and supports, highly recommend adding that. Photos are another thing. Easy tools, like obviously a lot of people have mobile phones that can take photos of jobs, show off your great work. Use inexpensive tools like Company Cam to take progress photos and to centralize all of that information for your company. That'll just make it so much easier to optimize your profile when you get that chance. And a couple of things I wanted to ask you, Claire, too, about optimizations are through seasonality and hours of availability. Are there any dials there that businesses can consider in terms of expanding their, operational hours, and also how they optimize for seasons too?
Seasonality is a little bit harder to optimize for, just because that's kind of the nature of the platform. So with demand ebbing and flowing, your leads are going to ebb and flow. It's just not as consistent as Google Ads, for example. Like if I have a Google Ads platform or account that's spending $500 a month, and they typically get like 25 leads, you're going to expect that pretty much, or within range of that. And with Google Guarantee, it's a little bit different, because it's more of a commitment. People know that when they're clicking on these ads, and the demand has to be there. So with seasonality, if you notice your business slows down during the holiday season, because a lot of home improvement customers do. And I keep bringing it back to that example because that's what I know and that's what I do, but just applicable for your business and your service, and think about it in that way. If it slows down during a specific season, you don't have to worry about like spending less because your cost per lead isn't going to go up like it would with Google Ads because it's just not going to spend. You can certainly drop your budget if you want, just in case for seasonality, but I think there's no harm in this one kind of just being, you set it and you kind of leave it because it won't spend if it can't. So as far as seasonality, there's not much to do there. But then another way you can optimize your profile is opening it up for 24/7 business hours and running that ad schedule for 24/7. And then don't worry if you don't have somebody in the office answering the phones, because it sounds like that's something that Signpost can help you with. And if you talk to them about an answering service, and they can help you book those appointments from your Google guarantee.
Yes, absolutely. Like, there are ways to capture that 24/7 interest. And if you think about how people shop and how, people don't always have time during the day to make these decisions and to search online for solutions that you are providing. This is a great way to get that coverage and help your business stand out online. I put our contact info up here just so you guys can get in touch. So just as an overview and to recap what we talked about earlier, Signpost can help you get those great reviews and that call coverage I just mentioned. And then Claire's company, as you learned from Claire today, they're experts in helping set up these campaigns. So if it's something that you haven't gotten started with already, definitely get in touch and explore the options and the ease of use of the program, because I think it is one of the best options out there for service businesses. So I'll leave this up, but we are happy to answer more questions. So feel free to keep them coming in the chat. We'll hang around for the next minute or two to make sure we've answered all of them. And this is really valuable information, Claire. Thanks so much for sharing it. I learned quite a few things today, and feel a lot better prepared in talking about this program, with other businesses, because it sounds like there's a lot of flexibility and there's a lot of support around what Google provides and what they prompt in the profile to ensure that businesses are successful and getting some value out of the program too. Because obviously, a lot of people have spent money in other places. And we actually had someone type in a few minutes ago, asking is something like $500 a month, something, realistic for one of these campaigns, because he's getting charged $650 from Yelp, and he's already gone through his budget for the month. And I asked a little bit about his service area and industry, because I think that will really weigh in heavily on your answer there. But I guess in general, is $500 a month a budget that you've seen for this program, or do you think it really needs a little extra juice? Talk about that.
Most definitely. So I think that the tool that I showed you all before is a really excellent tool to use when you don't want to have the guesswork and you want a more specific answer. But I have a lot of my clients start out with $500 a month as they're starting, because that's kind of a popular, it's a solid round number. It's easy to test, and it's kind of low stakes for most, at least, home improvement businesses. And keep in mind, your cost per lead and your budget will be proportional to the cost of your services and your profit margin as well. So Google does keep that in mind when making those recommendations. But I almost always see folks start off with a $500 a month budget with Google local ads. And then depending on how they grow and how the return on investment and quality of the leads is working for them, they'll increase their budget from there.
Got it. Well, that's helpful to know, because although $500 is not nothing, it feels like a very approachable price point for a service business to, dip their toes in the water and get started.
Yes.
And just as a recap, Claire's company, BuiltRight Digital, I've included Tony's contact info. So if you're a business that is, hoping to just get started with the ad campaign specifically, get in touch with Tony. If you're looking for that call coverage and help with review generation, all webinar registrants are eligible for $100 off per month. So that's a savings of $1,200 per year. Get in touch with us at Signpost. I have my colleagues' info here. Madeline, you can call, text her, or email her. And, we will give you a, an overview of what that looks like. And obviously, like, these programs work very well hand in hand.
Definitely.
And yes, to reiterate, we did get a question. Yes, this webinar is recorded and you will get a link in your email. So we'll get that up on our YouTube channel as soon as possible, so that you can share it with your manager and with anyone else in your company that needs access to this information. Any other questions? And I did get a question, what is GSLSA? When I say that, it is short for Google Local Service Ads, or Google Guarantee, as Claire abbreviated as well. Well, thank you all so much. Again, I'll leave this up for just another minute if you haven't captured the information. Thank you, Claire, for coming on and sharing this expertise with our audience. I thought this was great information. I hope you all who attended got something out of it. I sure did. So again, thank you for your participation and your questions. Hope this was valuable, and hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday and week.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Laura, and thank you for joining us. And if you found this very useful, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or reach out to Tony. We'd love to work with you.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.